nigga now. Nigga, this Big Bang, who be the new boss, the true boss, and saying no names. When the cereal expire, the identity change. Smooth criminal shit, nigga, no memory remains. Just remember who the nigga put the G in the game. Connect dots, you ain't think was the same. Poured out the Hennessy, left on P for the lames. Thinking I'm BS in this time, hope you thinking the game. I made my mistakes.
Peace, family. Welcome. It's the HOODHARTHA Podcast. I'm your host, Osirius.
And I'm Shadarius.
And we are on our second episode of HOODHARTHA, the podcast. And if you tuned in last time, you know that this is about the mind, the power of the one mind that we all share, and invoking that spirit, that transcendental spirit inside of you that's waiting to be invoked. And tuning in last time, we said we were focused on the 7 Hermetic principles.
That's right.
And this second episode is dealing with the second law, the law of correspondence. And the law states that as above, so below. As below, so above.
Yes. That's right.
And we're going to break that down. But first, we wanted to celebrate the publishing of a HOODHARTHA novel, authored by yours truly, Osirius. Lucifer's my pen name, Osirius Lucifer. I'm an MC, so that's where the cipher come from. We hold ciphers when we MC. Y'all know that. Y'all follow the culture. And basically, I wrote this novel. It's a hip-hop based novel. It's about a young man. He's a freshman in high school, and he's at that age where he feel like he has to hold his own and come into his own being, do his side hustle. And he's a special young man. He just doesn't know it, like an old soul. And it chronicles his, like a mind's eye journey of his life and times and his episodes and encounters with different aspects of society, from depression to foster care to teen pregnancy, interracial relationships. And he comes into his own self-realization. And that's actually where I got the name HOODHARTHA from, because I wrote this when I was in high school and I didn't really have a title for it. And years after I graduated, it finally hit me one day, because I like this book called Siddhartha. It's a book about a young Buddhist, and he basically comes into his self-realization, and it hit me one day. I said, yo, this book is like Siddhartha, but it's in the hood. So I called it HOODHARTHA. And well after I wrote the book, I had to live it. I had to live out what I wrote, and I came into my own self-realization. And thus, hence, the podcast and the way of life and the school of thought that I foster and that Shadarius come to bless assistance with. So, yeah, check it out. It's actually coming out. Release date is May 19th. That's Malcolm X's birthday, and a birthday of a good friend of mine that passed away. Rest in peace, Josiah Robbins. And yeah, we're going to keep this going. So thanks for joining us, and
Let's get into it.
let's get into it. We all growing.
Right.
And the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above.
Right. So what does that mean?
We kind of were trying to figure out, what does that mean to us, huh?
Right.
Not just to us, but what are they trying to convey?
Really say.
What were the elders and the ancients trying to convey when they say that? And to me, that, it kind of like means that as in the heavens, as on earth, we are representation of the glory of the heavens and the stars, and not only as above, so below, but as within, so without.
Right. All of the energies and different things that we possess inside of us, and feelings and things like that. It has a lot to do with that. And I feel like when you get into like astronomy and the zodiac, and stuff like that. It entails a lot about, I feel like it has much in depth about as above, so below.
Definitely.
Yeah, so because, when we're born and we like to say, oh, I'm a Capricorn or a Virgo or whatever. So as above, so below, the sun always, it constantly shifts through different zodiac signs.
Yeah.
And then we display that energy here on Earth. So.
Right. That's excellent. Yeah. That's
So yeah.
very true. It's like we playing out the movement of the stars. And
Oh yeah.
because when I was young, not even when I was young, but maybe like 10 years ago, I read this book called The Cosmic Influence. And it broke down how, it's an actual science and a real observation to the stars when certain alignments happen. Like, say, Jupiter might be 90 degrees to where Saturn is. Yeah, certain things happen on Earth, like full moons. They have to put out 2 or 3 times more police out on the streets on full moons because,
of the energy.
The energy really does rise and, more activity.
Chaos.
And,
So, it's crazy that you said that because we just had a retrograde. Mercury retrograde just happened this past March, I think until the end of March. And I experienced a lot of delays during that time. It was just a weird energy. And since I've started studying, I've paid attention to the different time frames and I've acquired different opinions on what would happen during that time, and I've seen a lot of it play out, and it was weird. So I'm a firm believer of astrology and astronomy and, all of that different stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know if I believed in all that. I was kind of with it back in the day, but I didn't fully grasp, what was going on until I read how, it's a real... Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah, it ain't even. It's real law.
It's law. That's the only one true law is the zodiac. The only real Allah.
I see.
And you could change it and call it whatever you want to call it, but it's still the same thing. It comes to one thing. You could call it Jesus, call the son Jesus. The only one that gives us life every day. He does. His name is the one and begotten Son of the. Yeah, he gives us life. Yeah, we have to have life. We get it from the sun. Without the sun, we wouldn't be living. Of course, if the sun died, we all died. The whole earth died. So, I get that metaphor.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
I get that metaphor. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's where the halo come from. At first, it was in the back of the heads, and then they started making it on top of the head. Yeah.
And then the face started to be really light and like glowing. So if you don't see the highlight, it's almost like the face or the whole body is radiant with sun. Like an angel, you see the angels like glowing or whatever. I never understood what it meant until I started doing my own research.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
it makes much more sense.
The allegory is amazing.
So in a sense, we're all stars in our own narrative.
Yeah.
And so definitely as far as above so below, I feel like that has a lot to do with what we kind of was going into or segueing into in the last episode, which was sexual respect, for each other and for self. Starting with self especially first, because it's when I think of as above so below, I do think of parent and child, or student and master, or so student true. And teacher, and parent and child. Of course, that originates in the sexual process and how you choose to engage in that, because sexual perversion is deep here because of the capitalism involved in the making of America.
The porn industry is the number one money making industry in the world. It's the top rating besides anything else, like food and beverages and all that. Porn is like number one.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's
number one. $1 billion. Like, it's just up there.
It's known to be at least a third of the internet. You know, that just shows where the obligation and priorities are of the human psyche at this point, because that's the internet is worldwide. It's not just America. You know? Right. You know, but we know that capitalism does, you know, play a big part here in this culture. And, it's a sad situation, because I can imagine before media and television, growing up in a society and children not even knowing what, you know, sex is. You know, imagine you don't even know about it until it's time to know. That would be a beautiful mystery of life to engage in. But instead,
we're forced
you're
down
almost
our throat, like,
you're
with
almost
these perversions.
It's like with, you know, you
when
almost
you see it on TV, it's like that's what you're supposed to do.
Trying to think of the
So
word.
the TV is like really detrimental to us as people and to children. You know, as adults, you know, we have to be careful about what we let our kids see and hear, because it's very important. They think that's what they're supposed to do when they see others do it. And we have to be the ones to tell them no. And we first have to understand it's not okay for our kids to listen to Cardi B and the Migos, because they don't know about that stuff. Like, unless that's what you do at home. And not saying that we're judging you for doing that, but it's not okay, because eventually they're going to become a problem that you can't fix or solve. You know, you have to stop, like, at some point, know that it's not okay for a child to listen to shaking booty and smoking, popping Molly, and even saying it out their mouths. Like, it's not okay for that.
Because first of all, they don't understand that. So there's a sense of major confusion that come with, you know, encountering those sounds and those frequencies, you know, because they not of age. No one's going to explain that to them thoroughly. So they really left to guess on their own what just happened with this mental molestation that kind of just took place.
Right.
You know, and it's like, that's what it is. It's a molestation of the mind, essentially, you know, because ain't no reason for that, for to be introduced to that at an age, you know, where you really should be, you know, exploring creativity, you know, the arts, you know, just what life, you know, really has to offer, and communication and building your social skills. And like I said, ancient cultures, they didn't really look at the body, and a lot of them still don't look at the body as something amusing. You know, it's more of a respect. You know, the fact that we get nourishment from the woman's body, and we come from a woman's body. And essentially, that plays into how you think and the choices you make in life with everything you do. And I was, you know, just coming up, you know, and really getting knowledge of self under some real righteous brethren, some real righteous older heads. They really taught me that it's really not the thing to really womanize or to look at the body in such a way that you make choices that really don't add up to your real purpose and what you really intend. You know, it just don't make sense as far as say a young dude just find himself in a situation where he is got a woman pregnant, don't know where to go, who to search for, and it's all because of what he was trained to think that he wanted. You know, when it might not really be the case. That's what you want. You know, it's like we're told what makes us satisfied or what pleases us.
Or what we're supposed to be doing as a people. This is what y'all do, or whoever you may be. Like, I feel like it has a lot to do with the environment that you're in. The environment, you know, most of the time the environment is very toxic. Depending on where you come from. Like, where I come from, it was toxic. So,
yeah, you gotta really think
I'm very
twice.
thankful to have gotten out of the situation. You know, I don't know how, but I got out. But still, at the same time, as a parent, you should be concerned about your child's well-being in their surroundings. And when there's a will, there's a way. That's how I look at it. You know, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And I transitioned with no money in my pocket, so it can be done.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I wrote HOODHARTHA, was to really just shout out at teens and teenagers and really let them know, like, you gotta take precautions, you know, because you enter in the world where you're about to become an adult, and it ain't gonna happen overnight where you just wise up. You know, certain things you need to be put up on game on. So, you know, I wrote it as a teen, for teens, and
Also for adults.
Yeah, also for adults, because they think that teenagers don't go through nothing.
Right.
Oh, they ain't got to pay bills. They ain't got to go. They don't really know nothing. But nah, like I said, you know, you got, you know, foster youth out there. That's, you know, a lot of them are doing great, but a lot of them know some of the ills of the system. You got, you know, the drugs running rampant, you know, designer drugs especially. And yeah.
I just feel like at some point we have to take a stand and stop it as a people. You know, in our community, if we want to see better, we have to do better. You know, in any community where there's violence and a high rate of drug and, you know, rape and anything like that. We are the people, and that's our area. We should take a stand, period.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it is. It at least takes some voices.
I mean,
and some action.
It take action because,
you know,
we talked too long, too long. Yeah. Too much talking, too much marching, not enough. Pick it up, put it together.
But we need everybody to stand up and speak up.
For real, let's get it together. Let's build this house. Let's build the ground. I don't care. Like, I'm tired of talking. Like, let's do something.
Right.
Change. Just change. Let's stop. Put the guns down. Pick up a book.
Because it starts within. And that's where the real fight is.
Right.
You know, it's really within.
Because you're really fighting yourself.
And that's what HOODHARTHA is about. The struggle within. You know, it's like an alchemy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as far as the sexual energy, a lot of ancient practices dealt with like tantric sex, and that's like tantra is a word that means ritual or like a spell, or just intention, just putting intention behind what you do.
Yeah.
You know, not just having mindless sex and just engaging in it just to be doing it. You're actually hoping for a manifestation to come out of it, whether it's clarity of mind, whether it's to heal a sickness or ailment that you're going through, or whether it's to, you know, see into past lives or into the future. It can go that deep. And they have different, you know, tantric positions that are known for healing and known for just giving more insight into what you desire, whatever you choose, whatever your intention is. And I know as far as above, so below, I feel like the sexual energy is very in tune with the astral or the dream world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you go into a almost trance-like state when you are in that, engaging in that moment. And intention has a lot to do with the dream world. Like, I feel like we shouldn't do anything without intention. We shouldn't even really go to sleep without intentions for what are we going into this dream world to do or to engage with, to encounter.
I don't think people really realize that you can have a lucid dream, or you can control your dreams, or be awake during your dreams.
I've only done it one time where I actually was in a dream and I knew I was in a dream, and it was a trip. But I feel like we shouldn't do everything we do. We should put intention behind it. There should be no mindless behavior.
Yeah, do nothing without intention. Everything has
because
an
we have a
intention,
free will,
regardless of if you know what you're doing. You know,
mm-hmm.
Cause and effect. That's the next one.
Everything you do consciously is ritual.
Yeah.
You know, sports rituals. You know, they paint their face, they get their signs, they got their chants, and anything
Your
you
habits.
do consciously is a ritual. But all subconscious action is more of, you know, your intuition taking over. And but yeah, you want to be mindful of what you do at all times. Like, I was told to put God into everything you do, you know. And as far as intentions and ritual, we do it all the time, you know, like we said before. You know, everything we do, where everything you see is a thought manifested. You know, so we might as well do it to the best.
Yeah, thoughts become things.
Yeah, because
so
we have
to be
free
careful.
will.
Yeah, you have free will. So you are the controller. You know. So, and I don't think people don't really realize that they control their own life with what they think. And when you say I don't have, or I'm not, or whatever, then that's what happened to you. You become not, or lacking, or not having. Words have power.
Yeah.
They really do.
And what I think we need to really
Words
understand.
are swords. They're spells. You know, when you're writing, you're spelling, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The spell. You know,
I
the
always
words.
wonder why they
the
called
words
it
sound
that.
power.
I always wonder why they called spelling.
Yeah. And, you know, I think what we really need to understand is that, you know, a lot of us might have a mentality of, you know, we're children of God, so it's going to be all right, which is
okay.
Which is, to a certain extent, I agree with that.
But you have
at the same time, we are in an actual real time, you know, we're in real time, and our thoughts are affecting everything, and we can use our awareness to affect our situations and the outcome that we desire. And so the more that we tap in, the more that we go beyond, you know, as you know, they used to say when I used to work, like when I used to have a job, like go beyond, go above and beyond.
Right.
You know, it's like
To
think outside the
customer,
box.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, do that with yourself.
But yeah, do that with yourself, of course.
You know, and really elevate yourself in all areas.
You should have that perspective about yourself. And I feel like the perspective is major. You know, what you thinking and believing at the time is true to you, you know, but it could be false to someone else. Like, whatever is in your reality is real to you. So you have to be careful about how you think about certain situations, including yourself and and others, you know, misunderstandings.
Yeah. Do you feel like the dream world, like what you do in your dreams, is like another world?
I do. Do
you feel like we live in another life in our dreams?
Somewhat.
As above, so below?
Somewhat. I do, because in my dreams, I feel like I'm in another reality, like world that's real through my dreams. Like I feel connected. Like it's weird. It's hard to explain. It's like I feel like I'm watching myself in another world interacting, and it feels real to me.
I feel like it's another life going on in my dream because I have the same type of dream every night. It's just I'm just doing different things. It's like another life continued, and you know I think that what it is that all of these lives are one. You know, our dream self, our physical self, they're all one life through different lenses. You know, this is more of a concrete world, whereas that world is more symbols and signs and sound, and is more affected by thought. It's less dense. This is more dense, you know, so it's less subject to the mental faculties, whereas that world is more fluid, so thoughts manifest like that.
Right.
You know?
They just start appearing like, oh.
Yeah, as soon as you think something, you're like, oh, I didn't mean to.
I didn't mean to think that. So
But,
you have to have complete power, control over the thoughts. And then they're magnetic, so they're like transferring. Are you reading my mind? You ever heard someone ask you that? Are you reading my mind?
Right.
And it's crazy. It's really crazy. I can remember thinking a certain topic and not really speaking on it, but the next person, 5-10 minutes later, starts speaking on that topic. You know? Or I thought about what my mom doing, and she called me. Or something like that. And it's weird because you literally in the thought of them, what are they doing? And your phone rings, they're calling you. Yeah. That's another example. So.
Yeah, it's very mind-detect mind out here. So, I remember when we was like, I feel like certain rituals are put up on us without us even knowing. Like, I remember when we was young, on the Sega Genesis, they had this Mortal Kombat game. Y'all know about it. Everybody that grew up in the 90s. It had this code where you could put the blood effect, where you could have blood on the game. And the code was ABACABB. And when I got older, I was like, A, B, C, that's like Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C. You know, the star, the brightest star in the sky is called Sirius, and they say it's 3-in-1 stars. It's really 3 stars orbiting each other, and the third star, Sirius C, you can't really find it. But I'm like, they had us tapping in A, B, the Sirius, the stars, and it almost just reminded me of like the bloodline, the Illuminati blood, like why they had everybody doing that, and they only tapped C one time, so it just was like the C was elusive, like it was hard to get to, like it's like the whole symbolism was in there, and so because that game was deep. That game was about a fighting tournament in which they thought it was a regular fighting tournament, but they realized the masters of the tournament was taking people's souls, and they had a whole movie about it, but it's a real popular video game. They even came out with a new one recently. So, yeah.
So the masters of the game was taking souls.
Yeah, if you lose in combat,
they take your soul. So what are you fighting for?
Because it was another dimension that was trying to take over the Earth dimension. So these
you mentioned the Illuminati?
Yeah.
It sounds very similar.
Like reptiles. They even had a character, the secret character on the game was called Reptile. So it was they had the yin and yang symbol, all kind of ancient symbols in this game. So it had your mind reacting to, your DNA was reacting without you even knowing it. You just playing this game and wondering why you so addicted to this. It was a very popular game. Still is. And that blood code, everybody remember that. AABACABB. And it's deep, it was on the Sega Genesis,
And I was going to ask
Bible
you, I was going to ask you about when you mentioned the Illuminati, because I hear that a lot, and this ain't, what you call it, fake news, false news, or
Reactionary.
Yeah, reactionary news.
Reactionary news is
Or I know I see a lot of topics about the Illuminati and what it is and all of that different stuff. So, what does the word Illuminati really mean?
From what I know, it's like just illuminated ones.
So,
Illuminate I.
So,
illuminate
like,
one.
basically the ones who have knowledge or knowledge nobody else got.
Pretty much. Like, I guess they have their own understanding of their plan. To me, Illuminati is not a thing. It's a plan. It's not a people.
It's like a plan.
I mean, it's been happening. We already went through the whole, slave issue, the new world order, and they've been planning this for years, So it's a plan that's been in effect, and we all feeling it, It ain't no secret no more, But it has a lot to do with George Washington, because there were presidents before George Washington. It's just that he was the first constitutional president. And before that, you had the Articles of Confederation before the Constitution. So there were Confederate presidents. And before that, I forgot what was before the Articles of Confederation, but there was national agreement before that. So there were presidents before the Confederates. And from what I understand, those were Moorish presidents, and Moors, from what a lot of people may know, were dark skinned, woolly hair, our ancestors that were on this land,
Way
before Columbus. Before the New World.
Yeah.
And George Washington, he has papers that come from that have been released. Yeah, that have been released that show that he definitely planned to exterminate the Moors, never let us know who we were, call us Negroes and Africans, and never tell us that we really are from this land.
Right.
So that, to me, that's the big secret.
That's the big secret. I think people really need to understand and don't negate the fact that the history that we know is not fraudulent. Like, you have to do your own research and not just take what they say for face value. Because I've always felt in my heart that the story of how we got here was false. It didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And a lot of my ancestors and my grandfather, who's still living today, a lot of those people never really heard of slavery. He's 94, 95 years old. And I just know that a lot of people here before all of this took place were very dark skinned with woolly hair.
Yeah.
So there's some things that's not being said.
Well, we know history's been revised, and
because it's his story, not ours.
Yeah.
It's his story. Anybody could. I mean, it's not far fetched.
Not at all.
That we've heard things that came about, that was lied about, or it's not far fetched. So, yeah, that is a big secret.
Definitely, that's the major secret of this
and that's
country,
something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Like, I don't hear, Louis Farrakhan and people like that talking. All I hear is them talking about this narrative of us coming over here on a boat. That is not true. I just wish you could save a boat. You save everything else. Where's the boat? Like, that's what I don't understand. There's a statue of so much.
Yeah, they're very braggadocious, so they would save at least one ship.
Where's the boat? Show me the boat. Like, come on. And then, they have the slave archives in Africa. And where the slaves were shipped off from that area.
Yeah, the ports.
The ports.
Yeah,
that could have been. I feel like it could have been any type of story behind that place.
They could have had white slaves in that.
Who knows?
Those could have been Moorish docks where they shipped their white slaves, because a lot of Moors had white slaves before George Washington and them took over and started enslaving Moorish
Because
people.
I feel like there was a disagreement between the Moors and a divide.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to us as a people. You know, what happened. It's weird. Like, to me, it's very shocking. Like, I would have never known none of this if I didn't seek it. That was my thing. So if you're not seeking it, it's not really coming to you. But we're coming into an age where the truth is coming out, and you have no choice but to be faced with it.
Yeah, and this is the first Continental Congress in 1774, where George Washington proposed that he should hide our true identity. He didn't become president until 2 years later. But, yeah, he said to take the fezzes and the turbans off of our heads and put shackles on our feet. And this is for anybody to look up. You know? And,
yes, it's there.
And you don't hear nobody calling us Moors because they don't want
And it's not pseudo. And it's not pseudo.
And I don't necessarily.
I've heard Hillary Clinton out of her own mouth doing a speech say, honor the Moorish Empire and the Morocco Empire for allowing the U.S. to take camp on American soil. So if you pay attention to those words, she's saying that they're not really a country. They're a business that's operating on somebody else's land, and they're never going to tell you. Why would they tell you? That's stupid. I ain't gonna tell you nothing.
And the Constitution protects our natural rights, some of our natural rights, and our ability to stand. Some of them. It's not. They're not gonna fully give us the leeway, but
they're not even gonna tell you who you are for you to freely access that type of information. First, you got to stop calling yourself a certain term before you can even be allowed to. You can't say, "Oh, I'm black and I'm from this land." Then you start talking to the law. The law doesn't honor black.
Black is not a nation.
Yeah, it's not a nation. Doesn't have a nationality. So you can't say that. So that's where it gets tricky. It gets real tricky for us.
Yeah, and the law only acknowledges nations and people and persons, people
and
of
noble
nationality.
People.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why they put these surnames on us, so we would stand in error before the law. And
and by default, like we can't go no past being black. So if you can't go get past being black, then there's nothing we can do for you.
Yeah,
your history at this point, you're over with. And now we got the whole world calling themselves black.
And this is why George Bush didn't really give too much credit to the Constitution. He tried to say it's just a piece of paper because he knows that that's one of the keys for the people. See, that Constitution starts off with "we the people." Mm-hmm. You know, and the people is the actual owners of this land. Yeah. Us being the first peoples.
Right.
And that's why I say don't put no titles on yourself. You don't have to say you are more. It's good. It's great. And I highly encourage to acknowledge that and learn that history. But when you put these labels on yourself, they turn you into...
You have to overstand the history.
They put you in conditions
you
that...
understand it, but overstand it at the same time. Really get what it's telling you.
They put you in a jurisdiction when you put these labels on yourself. Right. Just know that you're one of the people.
I'm the people.
We are the people.
I'm the people.
And
okay.
You're not a citizen.
You're not a citizen.
Citizen is another surname or another word that puts you in
their jurisdiction. I'm a citizen. Okay, well then it means you under my jurisdiction. Or your people.
Yeah. And they constantly giving you these languages in movies and billboards. I just saw a billboard the other day that said me and my wife became a citizen at the library, and I guess it was some people that got nationalized. But they're basically torturing you to be in their jurisdiction just with the language.
We really as a people, all people, okay, you must pay attention when you're dealing with the cops and you say you're a citizen and you say I know my rights and all that. You own the cops. You own them. They don't own you. Like you own them because you're people.
The government is the subject of the people. they are at our service. But once we get it twisted
Point
and we
blank.
don't know who we are,
Then
then they
that's
can
when
flip the
they-
script. They
Yes.
can act like they judges. They can act like they are actually in control of court. When you know the law, you are actually the sovereign in court.
Exactly.
You just have to know the language.
Yes, you have to know the language, and it's very exciting to even know these things.
Yeah, I beat several cases.
It's very exciting to know these things and who you are. We got too many people that's in jail for no apparent reason.
And when you know the law, you understand you don't go to jail unless you want to go to jail. Really. Because when you know who you are and how to really represent yourself, they can't touch you. Not if you're an actual upstanding person and you haven't committed a trespass. Because that's the only law that you can break is the trespass.
Hurting somebody, trying
Other
to take
than
a
that,
life.
You good. But they put all these codes and statutes. You wasn't wearing your seatbelt, this and
Ran
that.
the stop sign.
And they making billions of dollars off of
Codes.
You broke a code. You didn't break the law. But that's a build that takes a lot of personal courage and a lot of maturity to start delving into.
Right, we
Getting
got
the
off
Black's
topic.
Law Dictionary.
Yeah, the Black Laws.
Black Laws, and start reading the Black's Law Dictionary.
The fourth
edition.
Yeah, the fourth edition is. You said the 7th edition, the 4th, then the 7th, and then maybe the 10th. But you want to go as old as you can. If you can find one older than the 4th, is it good? It's better to use that one.
Indeed. Well, no, I think the 4th is actually just the best one.
Okay.
Yeah, period. Actually, I know that. And I feel like this is where the rites of passage comes in. Like, I feel like ever since I was young, I always felt like we lacked the rite of passage. I always felt like my mom and my parents was going to put me up on game, like, one day.
Tell me how to live life. Yeah.
But that day never came.
Because they don't know how to. They don't even know. They can't give you something that they don't have. And it's been a domino effect ever since then. You have to understand, like you said, as above, so below. As within, so without. So you got a lot of people from generations ago that lived a certain way and act a certain way, and now you have this later generation repeating their habits and their ways. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a domino effect. Like it's still, we hate, what I see in our community is that we don't like each other, we don't love each other, we dislike each other a lot.
I was just thinking about that today.
And we judge each other a lot, but we could uplift the next race.
Yeah,
so the next
I was just
culture.
thinking that today, how when we walk into a room of young white girls and they mom or they aunties, you see the potential that they could be anything they want to be. You see their abilities, their creativity. But it's like you walk into a room of, your brothers and sisters, and you just see, oh, that's just them. That's just some babies.
Whatever.
And it's like, nah.
They don't have
no
no
sense. You got to see the shine in their eyes, and they glow in their skin. And the fact that, you know what? We actually contributed everything.
Everything.
We invented
everything. And we can't blame nobody for what we're experiencing now. But we first have to know that we have the problem. We can change it, and it has to be changed. Like, I can't see us in 20, 50 years, thinking that being in the club, on the strip, pose and all that is cute. Whatever way you feel like you need to get your money, then that's how you get your money. But there's so many ways to get money. Like, I don't understand this. Like, we have to, like, raise our vibration and really build some things. We made Black Panther one of the highest selling movies ever. Why did we do that? We must see ourselves as something.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? These are incredible people. Like, we must feel like we can exhibit that same energy. And I feel like we can. I feel like we're really intelligent. But we got to throw away this narrative.
I had seen a biography of this man named Martin Delany. And he was a man living in the 1700s, I believe. And he said, every day I wake up and I thank God that I'm a black man. And I couldn't believe that a man in 1700s was thinking like that. And it just made me so proud. And it made me see myself even more. Like, Nah, you gotta really see yourself for what it is. You know, all creatures are beautiful. You know, and nobody deserves to see themselves as an abomination
because of their color
or as less than.
I feel like our race deals with a lot of depression and suicidal and very backwards. And I feel like that's on purpose, not by choice necessarily, but by purpose. Like I feel like we were put in certain situations to be made this way, but at the same time, I feel like we didn't have enough knowledge or enough understanding to understand we could change that for ourselves. That we don't have to be that way.
Because we scared.
Yeah, the fear, I understand. It's a fear, but where did that fear come from? It's like you automatically have it. I don't understand how you can shoot your brother, but you won't shoot this cop that's, kicking his head in the ground, your head in the ground, but you can shoot this dude around the corner for some bricks that's going to get you 20 years to life. Think about that, please. Just think about that. That's weird. That's weird. Like, you're going to go to jail anyway because you get caught shooting your brother, you're going to jail. Like,
but it's situations and circumstances and priorities. Ain't nobody really feeling like it's a reason. They give you a reason to do that for your brother. They don't give you a reason to overthrow.
And we buying all of these expensive things, but no land. Where's the land? Where's the lodium titles on your land? Not the mortgages. We ain't talking about that. We're not talking about
the lodium titles.
We talking about something that you have sole ownership over. Not that you're constantly renting from the bank. Then your kids become, renters from the bank when you're paying taxes on your land. Like, you should be paying taxes on something that you own. You feel what I'm saying?
Precisely.
Yeah. So read these contracts that you're signing. Oh my God, we got all the way off topic. Yeah. We didn't get into breastfeeding or nothing.
No, but actually that's wonderful. We did want to talk about breastfeeding, but we can get into that next time because that's the law of vibration.
Right.
So that's actually wonderful. I think the breastfeeding is actually more of a vibratory thing.
Topic. Yeah, we discussed it.
Definitely. And we got into what we got into. I feel like whenever we discuss what comes out, that whatever needs to come out.
Right.
And it's always wonderful because we have so much to discuss that we need to discuss with the people. But for now, that's been our episode of HOODHARTHA, based on the law of as above, so below, so below, so above.
Yes.
The law of correspondence.
As within, so without.
Definitely.
Yes.
And so I like that. I definitely like what we went into because that's something that's the secret.
It's the magic, the proof,
that's the secret.
Pudding, like the overall, and we have to reprogram our mind and our brain. We're resilient already, but we need to rewire our wires.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Let's go above and beyond. Forget all that what we've been given and what we think we could do. You are much more capable of what you think you are.
Right.
I highly believe that. I believe in my people because I already seen what we can do and what we still do.
I mean, everything you see on this earth, you did it already. So what else can you do? Yes, you did it. You did it.
Just listen to your ancestor side of the story. You get this modern story every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just take.
I remember growing up feeling like I was inferior because I didn't see no representation of me in the history books doing something great. And then when I got older, I started researching and understanding, and the whiting of history is just crazy. But it does something to the soul, like it does something to the kid when they don't see themselves.
It does,
It definitely did something to me, so I know it does something to others. So, but just know that you're great and you're more than enough to get it done.
Definitely. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, Everything you can think of, we've had our hand in inventing if we were not the sole inventors ourselves.
Right.
And the patterns are so interesting because the more that this country not embrace us, because I don't feel like they really embrace us, but the more they let the chains off, the more that technology would advance. So that shows you where these minds are coming from, where these
Thoughts.
where this technology is coming from. It's coming from the health and the optimum state of the black mind. And so we'll give y'all more. We'll give the world more. The more the world learns to love. Eventually we could start flying without planes.
If we wasn't already flying, we don't have that info,
Yeah.
Because I believe they were already flying.
There are tales of slaves flying. There's a book called The Song of Solomon.
I just feel like
And
there's
it's
a lot of
by-
things buried.
Oh man.
Let
me
wasn't
find out
it?
her name.
Wasn't it? There's a drawing drawing of a helicopter on one of the pyramids.
Yeah, but you know what? I be feeling like I don't know if a lot of that stuff is just modern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do like seeing stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of stuff you never know if they just made up in the studio, or
Right.
If they
Right.
even a lot of
Photoshopped it.
paintings. They be showing like
Yeah.
ancient paintings of giants and giraffes, and I'm just like, that don't even look like it's 25,000 years old. You look like you scraped it up a little bit, but you never know. But yeah, there's definitely ancient technologies, that rival modern technology. The pyramids, they say, are more precisely cut than laser technology. Laser technology can't even cut them stones as precise as our ancestors did them. So, I mean, they were in tune with a whole different understanding of what life is and what it means and how to interface with nature, in the mind, in the elements.
And they said the pyramid generated electricity for the whole village.
Toni Morrison, Song of Solomon. She was on April's Best Book Club, Best Select Book-selling book club. So, yeah, she talks about that. There's a sect. I ain't gonna even spoil the book or nothing, but just know that flying slaves was what it was. I don't even like to call them slaves, but the people, the flying Moors, flying men and women of the earth, original. Yeah, it's like, I've even heard of the British Empire going into India, and they couldn't deal with the Indians there because they had certain techniques called siddhis, in which they would levitate, they would teleport, they would endure extreme amounts of pain without being hurt. They could burn themselves up. They could set their whole body on fire without feeling any pain. All kind of stuff. And they had to make laws to where they couldn't practice this Hindu culture before, because India was called Hindustan. You realize that a lot of geographical areas on Earth were commercialized. Japan was called Nippon. This whole world turned into a new world. When they said new world, they wasn't playing. This new world is to completely erase the identity of the man before, which was the Asiatic black man. And we all had an agreement worldwide. Now this is a new agreement that's been perverted. But it won't stand. It hasn't stood. When 9/11 happened, that was the end of it. There is no more hours in the time frame of history left. All the hours of the Matrix collapsed with the 9/11. So that's why this whole awakening and outpour, that's what New Orleans symbolized too.
Mm-hmm.
When that whole...
And you know what? It's so weird that you
whole,
just said that, because when you said...
the pouring of waters, the dam
If you guys recall the American... What was that series on FX? The American Horror Story, and they had the New Orleans edition, and the lady Marie Lavigne or something like that. She did a ritual where she had took the hottest pepper and had it in her mouth for like days or hours, and the ancestors would grant her a certain wish or power. because she endured extreme pain. And without whatever the case may be, but when you said that's what the Hinduism practice, it brought me back to that episode, and you just said New Orleans. So that's was something that they really did. They endured certain amounts of pain to receive power or gifts from the ancestor or the spiritual world, and one of them was immortality. Yeah.
I mean.
And that voodoo queen, the first voodoo queen, they never really found her body or found out whatever happened to her. And then her daughter, like a daughter that looked exactly like her, reappeared decades later as her, but better.
Yeah, see, a lot of things that we scared of because we in this fundamentalist type of mind state, Christian mind state. Like,
did you see that they put a picture of Christ up in the pyramid? They put a picture of Jesus Christ in the pyramids of Egypt.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
It was
I
on a
wouldn't doubt it.
documentary that a guy, a pastor, had did. I forgot his name. I don't know if you showed me that video, but he was took his church on a tour of Africa, and he was like, "Who put that picture up here?"
Oh yeah, I seen that. That was Astro Crazy. Yeah, that was in the Lalibela, the temple of Lalibela.
Yeah, and they had the picture of. I mean, it was like
they
you
took
could
all the black
obviously-
Jesuses down, which were there for years and decades, and they put up
that picture of Christ, the white Christ.
The white Christ, yeah. And all the Ethiopians were pissed.
Yeah, they was very upset about that because they're trying to paint this narrative. They want us to believe this.
Yeah.
Whatever this is, and this is detrimental to us, but not only us, the earth, and she's tired of it, and the universe. They're gonna rid itself of this.
And they're gonna rid themselves of us if we don't stand up.
Right.
Because they looking to us to be the judges of the earth and defenders of the earth. And we have a consciousness on this planet right now that is in total disagreement and that don't even look at humans as anything worthy.
And that's why you see this chaos, as above, so below.
Yeah. And I say humans because all of us are a real family. And I feel like the powers that be know that, and they pit certain beliefs into the system that have us pitted against each other. You know, you born white and everybody looking at you like you symbolize the oppressor. You born black, everybody looking at you like you are worthless and you the descendant of the slave, and everybody's pointing the finger.
All these different.
We have
narratives.
an alien consciousness on this planet right now, breathing as we speak, and it's not from here. It needs to go home because anything that was humane would not be living like this and thinking like this.
This is unhumane.
Yeah,
it's not the order of peace. Like, that's not how they lived. Even though they had.
When you know peace, you want to share it.
Yeah, of course, there's chaos within peace, but not like this. This is the pollution of the ocean and cutting down the trees and stuff like that is beyond what, you just can't do that because then the earth is slowly decaying.
And the fight starts inside. We can't blame nobody but ourselves for ignoring what we see in front of us every day. But thankfully, it only takes a small group of people to change the world. I truly believe that.
Me too.
And
then I remember something saying in the Bible, it takes one to put 1,000 in flight, but two can put 10,000 to flight. Like that quote really sticks with me. It only take 2 people to send 10 people or 10,000 of the worst energies away. So it don't take a small group of people to change or to
spark everybody else's change. Look what Nipsey did. Look what Tupac did. Look what Malcolm did. Look what Marcus Garvey and Nat Turner and Francis Christ Wells and Harriet Tubman. These are the true heroes.
Yeah, they are the true heroes and
heroes. The true, because they free all of us. Mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. And we're real symbols of manhood and womanhood and godhood and familyhood and unity.
Right, we can't continue to be
perseverance.
divided. You know, we divided against each other. We ain't gonna stand. So you can't be divided and stand at the same time. It's never gonna work. So until next time.
Definitely. Yeah, it was a beautiful one. And we shall have many more.
Yes, peace, love, and light, and
serendipity and all of those good words. But yeah, definitely, we bring the real also. So stay tuned for next time. HOODHARTHA music, HOODHARTHA novel coming soon. And we the people.
And we the people.